Welcome back to another explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we are going on a truly fascinating journey. We're going to explore a space where modern science and ancient spiritual practices aren't actually fighting each other, but are amazingly starting to speak the exact same language. We're going to be looking at the concepts of light language, remote energy healing, and a totally revolutionary idea called informational medicine, all based on the holistic coaching practices of Nora. So let's just get right into it. So what if medicine wasn't a physical substance? Now, if you just raised an eyebrow at that, honestly, I get it. I completely validate your natural skepticism here. We are so incredibly conditioned to think of healing as something we swallow, inject, or physically rub on our skin. But what if healing could happen just by giving your body a completely new set of instructions? We are talking about a massive, game-changing paradigm shift here, moving away from thinking of the body as just a chemical machine and starting to view it as a highly intelligent receiver of information. Okay, let's dive into this and compare these two paradigms side by side. On the one side, we've got traditional physical medicine. This is what we all grew up with: the pills, the injections, physical matter, physically interacting with other physical matter. But over on the other side, we have informational medicine. And this relies on things like codes, vibrations, and signals. The revolutionary concept here is that the human body doesn't always need a physical substance to heal. Sometimes it literally just needs to read the right code to reorganize itself and find its way back to baseline health. To really wrap our heads around this, we need to properly define informational medicine. At its core, it's a fundamental shift from chemistry to biocommunication. See, our bodies act as these incredibly intelligent, complex information systems. If you think about your cells, not just as, biological building blocks, but actually as tiny computers capable of responding to precise instructions without needing physical matter to prompt them, well, it's just an incredibly elegant communication-based approach to wellness. Now, to ground this somewhat esoteric concept in reality, let's look at a modern scientific breakthrough we've all witnessed recently: the mRNA revolution. So, traditional vaccines, they inject a weakened physical virus so your body can learn how to fight it, right? But mRNA vaccines do something totally different. They don't contain the virus at all. Instead, they deliver an informational instruction code. It's exactly like showing your immune system a photo of a burglar's hat, rather than actually letting the burglar inside your house. Your body reads the instruction, it reorganizes its defenses, and then the mRNA simply degrades. And this brilliantly illustrates the connection we're making today. When we compare the two, the parallels are just striking. Think about it. While mRNA uses genetic information delivered molecularly to recalibrate the immune system, light language uses vibrational or symbolic information delivered through sound or intention to create spiritual and energetic recalibration. But they are operating on the exact same universal principle. Information is delivered, the body receives it, and the system reorganizes itself. All right, moving right along to Section 1, demystifying light language. So, what exactly is light language? Basically, it's a form of vibrational medicine. It deliberately bypasses the logical, thinking, analytical mind to speak directly to your cellular system and the subtle architecture of the body. And practitioners like Nora, they don't just guess at this stuff. She draws upon over 12 years of experience, a deep background in psychology, and actual certifications from renowned energy experts like Cindy Dale to safely and effectively channel these highly specific frequencies. You might be wondering, what does a session actually look or sound like in practice? Well, light language manifests in a few different ways. It could be spontaneous sounds or tones, geometric hand movements, specific breath patterns, intuitive visual codes, or sometimes simply pure, highly directed intention. And the absolute beauty of this delivery method is that it never, ever forces anything onto you. It simply offers information, and your body's own innate intelligence chooses what it is ready to integrate to help facilitate that healing. Which brings us to Section 2, the mechanism of remote healing. Now, I know the next logical hurdle here is wondering how in the world these vibrational frequencies can possibly be transmitted and received effectively through a computer screen. It is the ultimate raised eyebrow question. How can someone balance your energy from afar? Yes, I know, it sounds impossible. And yet, we've all had that experience of feeling someone staring at the back of our head from clear across a crowded room, right? You turn around and boom, someone's looking right at you. We know instinctively and experientially that energy and human connection are just not strictly bound by physical proximity. To really understand the how behind this, practitioners often point to the quantum metaphor of the wave versus the particle. In quantum physics, light can appear as a diffuse wave or a highly structured particle depending entirely on observation. In remote healing, the practitioner essentially acts as a benevolent witness. By observing and genuinely connecting with your energy field, they help your chaotic, diffuse energy, the wave, structure itself into clarity and alignment, the particle. Physical distance simply doesn't interrupt this quantum observation. Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly structured, super safe, and professional container during a typical online healing session. Step 1 is always intention and connection, getting really clear about the goal. Step 2 is spirit-to-spirit witnessing, which is basically inviting in higher wisdom. Step 3 is the actual frequency work and clearing, where the client literally just rests and receives the light language. And finally, step 4 is integration, grounding that brand new energetic alignment back into daily life. So, as you can see, it's a very deliberate, grounded process. Let's transition to section 3, the roots of chronic pain. Look, emotional stress, trauma, and grief, they don't just magically evaporate into thin air. If they're left unprocessed, they get stored directly inside our nervous system, which inevitably leads to real physical pain. When your autonomic nervous system is holding on to those emotional blockages, it literally gets stuck in a state of fight or flight. And over time, that constant, exhausting state of high alert manifests as very real muscle tension, systemic inflammation, and deep joint pain. This is exactly where the informational medicine of light language steps in, and it's perfectly illustrated by Mark's story. Mark is this highly analytical VP of a tech company, and he had been suffering from these brutal chronic tension headaches. Well, during a remote session, the practitioner guided him through some energy work, and suddenly, he found himself fully releasing grief over his father's death, grief he'd been carrying around for 3 years. The headaches? Literally gone after 2 sessions. The remote session provided a uniquely safe space, his own living room actually, allowing for profound vulnerability and the physical relief that followed. And then there's the story of Dana. Dana had suffered from intensely chronic neck tension for 6 long years. I mean, she had tried every physical remedy out there with no lasting success. It actually wasn't until she tried remote energy balancing that something finally shifted for her. She didn't find relief by endlessly talking out her problems. She found real, tangible shifts by using energy work to move the stagnant, stuck emotions held in her throat and her shoulders. As she noted afterward, she finally started sleeping through the night again. It just felt like pure relief. Now, if you're intrigued by all this, it is absolutely vital to know how to safely navigate this space. So here are the green flags of a solid, trustworthy online healer. First, look for someone who has actually been practicing for years and is completely transparent about their training and their certifications. They should be very realistic about their boundaries, have authentic testimonials, and crucially, this is a big one, they should never ever promise cures for serious medical conditions. A pro tip directly from the source material, approach this whole thing with curiosity, not desperation. Desperation makes our energy really tight and hard to reach, while curiosity, that keeps us open to genuine, lasting shifts. All right, bringing it all together in Section 4, Science Meets Spirit. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that mainstream science already fully acknowledges that multiple non-physical forms of information can, and do, directly alter our biology. We use genetic information every day with things like RNA. We use electromagnetic information with pacemakers and MRIs, vibrational information with ultrasound therapy, and psychological information via the well-documented placebo effect. Light language simply belongs to this exact same family of approaches, treating the amazing human body as a highly adaptive information system. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Energy work and conventional medicine are not enemies. In fact, they work so much better together. Holistic healing is never meant to be a replacement for necessary medical care. If you have a broken bone or an autoimmune disease, you need your doctor, for sure. But energy work is a powerful, integrative complement that addresses the soul and the energetic layers of our being that conventional medicine just simply isn't designed to catch. Which leaves us with this final, kind of profound question to ponder today. Are we more than just our symptoms? Because when we stop looking at our bodies as broken, faulty machines and start viewing them as intricate, beautiful fields of information, the possibilities for healing just expand exponentially. It opens up the profound possibility that true healing happens on multiple levels, the physical, the emotional, and the energetic, all at the exact same time. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this truly fascinating topic today. Keep your minds open and keep learning.